Thank you for plugging into this Family Life News podcast, streaming issues-driven, family-focused news.
Today we have the privilege of talking with Susan Michael of the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem. Susan, tell us, what does that organization do and what are you hoping to accomplish with your efforts?
Well, Greg, the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem was formed in 1980 in Jerusalem in response to all of the embassies moving out of Jerusalem in protest of it being the capital of Israel. That's how we had our founding. Our mission statement from day one is right out of the Bible. Isaiah 40, verse 1, it says, comfort ye, my people, says the Lord. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem. And we were very aware that at a time of tremendous international pressure against Israel, that we were a voice of encouragement and comfort. And I tell you, never has our ministry been more needed than today. We are still there as a voice of Christian love and support to the people of Israel, and it's a great encouragement to them as a comfort, almost as a healing balm, and that kind of sums up our ministry.
What is it, as you make connections with people who live in Israel now, what is daily life for them like since the October 2023 attacks?
Well, I tell you, they are living just a surreal situation. I think every day they're still pinching themselves to see, is this really happening? This was the most horrendous attack against the Jewish people since the Holocaust. More Jews massacred in one day since the Holocaust. It came at a time where Israel actually thought that they were achieving peace, and they were achieving peace with some of their Arab neighbors. But of course, with the jihadist organization on their southern border, Hamas, they're not interested in peace whatsoever. And so this horrendous attack has left the people of Israel feeling very vulnerable, very confused and hurt. And the attack was one thing, but Greg, this onslaught of anti-Semitism around the world, where we have thousands of people in the streets rallying in support of Hamas that just carried out a massacre of Jews, is so debilitating for the people of Israel, and they just don't understand why there's such hatred for them around the world when they try to be a blessing. And so we are there to encourage them, to help them with practical assistance, and let them know you are not alone. There are millions of Christians all around the world who are praying for you today, and we are the expression of their support and love for you. And it has really been very, very impactful.
Our guest is Susan Michael, who is the director for the USA portion of the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem. The calling for Christians these days, people, for that matter, Jewish, people of faith in the United States, what are the action steps that you would recommend we take to support the peaceful people who are in that part of the world?
Well, we as an organization have had a three-pronged response to this crisis. First is prayer, and we are organizing prayer all around the world. Every morning we have a Zoom prayer call with almost 2,000 Christians around the world praying together. We have ongoing prayer watches. We have rotating 3-day fasts. So prayer has been a big emphasis here because we have to understand this is a spiritual battle that's being expressed in a military attack. Secondly, we are raising money in order to do practical assistance in Israel. We're helping providing food and housing and all for some of the evacuees. There's 300,000 evacuees in Israel. These are Israelis that have been moved out of their homes because of the attacks going on in their areas. We're raising money for bomb shelters, for ambulances, for medical equipment, et cetera, et cetera. And then the third prong of our response has been advocacy around the world, where we have called up our national branches. Like for me, I'm the head of the United States branch, to rally in support of Israel, to write letters to our government leaders, to the United Nations, to wherever we can make our voice known in support of Israel and to push back against anti-Semitism. And so we invite your audience, get involved in one or two or all three through the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem.
One last question for you about this support for Hamas that comes with these anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic protests and demonstrations. They may think that they are just supporting innocent Palestinians, but what about the innocent Israelis? Are there action steps for grassroots people in our listening area to deal with this, that among young people there are so many who doubt the Holocaust and don't understand the history of anti-Israeli violence?
Well, I think action points are, number one, educate yourself so that you are able to answer these accusations against Israel. We have an educational website we built several years ago called IsraelAnswers.com, and it's built to equip Christians with the answers that they need. Secondly is wherever you encounter anti-Semitism, to stand against it. Call it out for what it is. And I know that takes courage and it takes boldness, but let me tell you, the day that we live in calls for boldness and courage. No more can we sulk back and be quiet, because being quiet actually helps the enemy. And so we need to stand up against anti-Semitism. And we are starting a fund. If they go to our website, icejusa.org/stop anti-Semitism, we are building a fund and a whole program to mobilize Christians against anti-Semitism in the United States. So we invite your listeners to go there and sign up and get involved.
Again, that website, ICEJUSA, those initials are for the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem. Their director in the United States is Susan Michael. Susan, thank you so much for joining us here today on Faith Under Fire from Family Life News.